While Frank Clark was a Michigan football standout, police say his then girlfriend suffered these injuries while the two stayed overnight in Sandusky, Ohio. A hotel employee called 911.
I need a police officer ASAP to a domestic dispute in 3202 at Maui Sands Resort. Like ASAP, like they're headbanging and everything.
One of the biggest days in professional sports, the NFL Draft held in Chicago this year. Despite the league's focus on fighting domestic violence, the Seattle Seahawks drafted a defensive end from Michigan who was kicked off his college team for an arrest involving the brutal beating of his girlfriend. Not a conviction, mind you, the arrest. But when you add to that a litany of other sexual abuse allegations and arrests swirling about pro football, you're forced to consider once again that line between being socially responsible and just wanting to win games. Let's welcome to the Hard Line an attorney who has represented several victims of sexual assault and abuse and has an NFL connection, Gloria Allred. Gloria, pleasure to talk to you again.
Thank you for inviting me.
Gloria, is this when the NFL takes somebody like a Frank Clark and they give him a job, they make him a second-round pick, are they just basically spitting in the eye of all the sexual abuse allegations and all the sexual abuse news that we've had around them the last couple of years? Or are they saying, wait a minute, fourth degree, personal disorderly conduct, not a big deal? Where's the fact?
Well, reportedly, that's what he do. You know, whether or not he, in fact, in terms of domestic violence to that young woman who was just described in your piece leading up to this discussion, I really don't know because I'm not involved in that case. I will say this. The NFL has always put itself out there as saying our standard is higher for personal conduct than just whether or not a person is convicted of a crime, that we do not want our players reflecting negatively on the integrity of the National Football League. And so we're going to hold them to a higher standard. And
is that a lie?
And essentially, there are going to be consequences if they don't meet that standard. So the question is, if they really mean it, if this is more than just words, then they should follow it with deeds. And, you know, they should really do an investigation and come up with some answers for the public as to whether or not they're going to hire people if, in fact, they find, whether or not there's a conviction, that these people are guilty of violence against women or responsible for it.
In your opinion, then, very briefly, Gloria, because I do want to talk about your case as well, is the NFL then just doing a great snow job then on the general public?
Well, let's put it this way. I've had a lot of dealings with the NFL. So far, I'm not satisfied, but we'll see. Maybe they'll surprise me. So I'm going to reserve judgment on that for another time. But you know that today I also did a news conference regarding another important issue involving an NFL player, and that is Ray McDonald, who now for the Chicago Bears, previously played for the San Francisco 49ers. And what Mr. McDonald did was very rare, unusual. I represent a young woman, she's 22 years old, who filed report with the police in Santa Clara County, and she alleged that she was a victim of a rape. That was her allegation and report to the police.
And he's now filed a defamation lawsuit against your client, correct?
Yeah, before the district attorney could decide whether or not they're going to charge Mr. McDonald, and they still haven't to this day made that decision one way or another, he went on the offensive and filed a civil lawsuit against my client alleging that she had defamed him. So today we responded. He, of course, didn't know that I was involved, but I am now. He knows that now. We filed a response to strike his lawsuit. In other words, ask the court to dismiss his lawsuit completely against her. And this is an issue because we believe that alleged sexual assault and rape victims should be able to file with the police a report if they believe a crime has been committed against them or anyone else without the possibility of their being sued. And we believe there are 3 court of appeals in California which argument that this case should be dismissed. And, you know, we would, if it's going to be dismissed, also be asking for sanctions, that is, financial penalty against him for having filed against her. And we've also filed a cross-complaint lawsuit against Mr. McDonald because we don't want this to have a chilling effect, what he did, against alleged rape victims because, you know, they don't have the money, most of them, to have
I only got
hire
about 20
attorneys.
seconds left, Gloria. I only got about 20 seconds
And
left.
we be able to report. That's good public policy, and then the DA can decide if they're going to decide.
Very briefly, you said you're not done with Floyd Mayweather or Bill Cosby, correct?
Yeah, Bill Cosby, the number of alleged victims have come forward. I took the latest one that I came forward with to the police in Atlantic City last week and she had a 5-hour interview with 2 detectives, Lily Bernard, and because there's no statute of limitations, no time period in New Jersey for criminal prosecution of allegations of rape.
And we are going to have to follow up on those
it.
because, unfortunately, we are all up against the clock. Gloria, we should spend a couple of hours talking about this. We will. Thanks for joining us very much. The Hard Line continues.